So, welcome to the Dragonflow project update. I'll start with a short introduction to what Dragonflow does. We are a distributed SDN-based Neutron implementation. That means basically we make everything distributed. So we try to avoid things like network nodes or centralized processing units, but instead everything is sent down to the compute nodes. We have other presentations about our architecture, but I don't want to go into that. I will say that our mission is to, like it says, to implement advanced networking services in a manner that is efficient, elegant, and simple. It is designed to support large-scale deployments with a focus on low latency and performance. And this is where and we do this by trying by being distributed. This is how we support the large-scale deployments. I want to discuss a bit what we've done in Pike. We did quite a few things. It says over here, we added IPv6 support. Both north-south and east-west. You can have networks that have only IPv6 addresses, and they can communicate between them. We have IPv6-based routing, IPv6-based security groups. Basically, everything should work. We didn't go into things like IPv6 NATing and such. That was out of scope, and we'll have to see if this is even needed. Beyond that, we also did trunk ports. This is to support VLAN-aware VMs. This is mostly to support nested containers. You have a container inside a virtual machine. The virtual machine gives each container a trunk and a VLAN tag. And then the Dragonflow controller beneath knows, according to the VLAN tag, what was the original port, to what it belongs. And then everything works naturally. You can apply security groups on that port. You can apply firewall rules on that port, load balancing, floating IPs, anything. Service function chaining, this is a base for NFVs. We support the SFC API as presented by Neutron. So, and then we even have a nice demonstration in the project on how to deploy that with Heat. Service health report, we have on each, as I said, we have on each compute node, on each hypervisor, we have some services that are running. So they now publish to the distributed database their health status. They ping every once in a while to say that they're still alive. And then you can detect if you have a failure somewhere. BGP, we have support for BGP speakers. We even had an internal project that tests this using MPLS, which is nice. So now you can publish your floating IPs to a router, and the router knows to which hypervisor to direct the traffic according to the incoming address. Distributed SNAT, it's a cool feature, which we are the first to do. It means that you can do source NAT in a completely distributed way, and you don't need a networking node for it. So instead of having all the outgoing packets go to a networking node, which NATs the packets and then sends it out, each compute node NATs a packet locally. And then if you don't want to waste too many external IPs, you can have the gateway do the NAT again to limit the amount of external IPs you use, to limit the number of external IPs you use. Lastly, and this is more a developer-oriented feature, we have completely redone the database model layer. We now use a package called JSON models to formally define what each object looks like and how it is stored in the database. This means that if you want to integrate with Dragonflow without the Neutron layer, which is, again, an internal project we had, then you can do that, and you can use the model layer that now exists to know how the database objects are supposed to look, including validations, and you don't have to guess, which is supposed to be a good improvement. The things we plan to do in Queens, we want to advance in several layers, in several directions. The first direction is features. We want to add new features, things that we feel are missing, like load balancing as a service. This is important because we were told, we haven't tested this ourselves, that Octavia and HA proxy are a bit heavy, and maybe an OpenFlow implementation can have better performance. This will also help us help our support to Kubernetes with and without Courier. We also want to support DNS, mostly because it's a cool feature, but it also has other added values. Again, if you can get to a fully distributed solution for that, it is supposed to improve the performance of a feature that is, of a network service that is used a lot. Deployment. We are working on several deployment solutions. The biggest one is OpenStack Ansible. We'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. Same goes for RPM packaging. We're working on creating an RPM package for Dragonflow, so it can be installed with using a DNF or YAM. Integration. Before that, documentation. We plan to rewrite the entire documentation for Dragonflow because it's, well, quite frankly, it's an outdated mess. So we want to rewrite it so it will be more up to date, so it will be more clear, so people can know how to deploy, how to add code, how to review, things like that. We also want to go with the integration. We want to improve our integration, so we want to support new APIs. This is part of the reason we did the API model refactor last cycle. We want to support things like CNI and CNI network policies to have native support to Kubernetes. We might want to add support for other APIs like CNF. We might want to add support for a standalone API in case someone wants to test Dragonflow without Neutron. We got a request for that from someone. And we're also looking at alternative data path backends. Right now we are locked in on OVS, and we want to see if maybe we can relax this requirement to be more flexible. In general in Dragonflow, we try to be as flexible as possible so that you don't have to choose specific databases, you don't have to choose specific network services. You can use only what you want and only what you need. And locking someone to OVS and to specific versions of OVS is a bit problematic. So we want to try and relax that requirement. Lastly, we want to support the upgrade scenario. We think that Pike is mature enough to be used, and we want people who use Pike to be able to advance to newer versions without having to reinstall. Beyond Queen, there are many more things we want to add. There's always work to do. There are always more features that we want to add, like support for firewall as a service, support for multicast and IGMP. We want to have better integrations, for instance, with SRIOV or with Gluon. I didn't put here DPDK, but because we already have code that supports DPDK, but it would be nice to be able to have a gate for it that tests it and verify that we don't break it. Which brings us to better testing. We want to have better coverage in our testing. Our coverage is far from 100%, which is a shame. And scale testing, which we want to continuously verify that we really support scale like we say we do. We also have had a lot of cross-project work. For instance, we have Courier integration. Right now, we are supposed to be fully integrated with Courier. It's supposed to work. We keep testing it locally. We are also working with the Courier guys on writing black box tests to a deployment that includes Courier and Dragonflow. We also are we have worked in the past and we continue to work in the process with OpenStack Ansible. Right now we have basic deployments, which is, sadly, we broke it, so we're going to fix it. We have, as I said, we're also working on RPM packaging. There's already an initial review up initial patch up for review. There are also some requirements that we're trying to add to Fedora and CentOS. And we also made some small changes in other projects, like in Octavia and dynamic routing and service function chaining, for little things that we found and little things that help the integration, not just with us, but with other projects. This is basically what we've done. We do have a request. We're always looking for help, and and we would love to hear feedback. We're always monitoring the IRC channel because we have bouncers. So if you leave a message, we will definitely get back to you. These are the cores at the moment. These are the current cores that appear. You can contact any one of these. I think between the 4 of us, we're there 24 hours because we're all workaholics. We are filtering the mailing list if you have a question there. We have a launchpad for bugs, which we maintain regularly. I think once a week, once every 2 weeks, we go over to find new bugs. We have a Trello board that gives a general idea of what we're working on, which is it's visual, so it's easier to understand than the Launchpad bugs page. And we have a blog site for all sorts of nice tidbits that we think people would be interested to read. Updates or technical issues if we ran into some interesting solutions that we published, things like that. Ways, if you want to contribute, that would be great. The best way to contribute at the moment is to try it out and send feedback. It's also the easiest, and it gives us a nice warm feeling to know that people know about us and try us out. So send feedback, let us know you're trying us out. We are also very happy to help and to find issues and solve them. That's what we do, and that would help us a lot. This also leads us to, you can open a bug by yourself. You don't have to go through us. You can send us a question. You can submit a patch. You can even review other patches. This is in descending order of importance and descending order of difficulty. So it's easiest to try it out. It's probably a bit more difficult to submit a patch or review a patch. That's it, I think. Are there any questions? Not everyone at once. OK, thank you.